Hello dear listener, please subscribe to our channel. Enjoy watching. It started with her laugh. At first, I didn't think much of it. Ava always had this soft, lilting laugh that made me smile no matter what. But lately, it felt different. She was laughing more often, at things I didn't understand, and always when she was on her phone or after a night out. It wasn't the sound itself that caught my attention, it was the timing. For years, I knew what would make her laugh, a silly joke, a shared memory, the way we could tease each other. But now, it felt like her joy had a new source, and it wasn't me. We had been married for 8 years, Ava and I. Our marriage wasn't perfect, but it was steady. She was an interior designer, always juggling demanding clients and tight deadlines, and I worked as a senior analyst for a corporate firm. We had our routines, and I thought we were happy, in our own way. Sure, life was busy, but we always came back to each other. At least, that's what I told myself. The first ray of crack appeared one evening when Ava came home late from a supposed client meeting. She smelled different, not her usual floral perfume but something sharp and woody. It took me a second to place it, cologne. Definitely not mine. She smiled at me as she walked through the door, but it was the kind of smile you give to a stranger on the street, not the man you've built a life with. Long day? I asked casually, hiding the tightness in my chest. You have no idea, she said, dropping her bag and heading straight for the shower. I wanted to brush it off, to believe I was imagining things. But once you notice something, you can't unsee it. Her late nights became more frequent. Her phone, once left casually on the coffee table or kitchen counter, was now always in her hand or face down, as if she didn't want me to see the screen. She laughed more, but not with me. The real turning point came 2 weeks later. It was a Friday, and I'd come home early to surprise her with Thai takeout. The house was quiet when I walked in, too quiet. Her laptop sat open on the counter, an email glowing on the screen. I wasn't snooping, not at first. My eyes just happened to catch the subject line, "Last night was perfect." My stomach tightened. The email was from someone named Sebastian, and the tone was unmistakably intimate. "Can't stop thinking about you. Dinner at our usual spot tonight?" My hands gripped the counter as I read the words over and over, my mind racing. I didn't confront her then. Instead, I decided to find out exactly what was going on. Confronting her without a plan felt like walking into a gunfight unarmed. Over the next few weeks, I turned into a detective. Ava had no idea I'd cloned her phone or installed a tracker in her car. It wasn't hard, she'd never been great with technology. Her text messages told the story she wasn't. Meetings that ended at a boutique hotel downtown. Calls filled with inside jokes and flirtation. "I hate sneaking around," she texted once. "But it's worth it to see you." Sebastian Caldwell. That was his name. A quick search online revealed everything I needed to know. He was a wealthy real estate developer, the kind who posted pictures of yachts and champagne flutes on Instagram. Handsome, confident, and oozing charm, he was everything I wasn't. I wanted to scream, to punch something, but I knew that wouldn't fix anything. Instead, I started planning. I wanted revenge, not just on Ava but on Sebastian, too. For weeks, I played the part of the oblivious husband. I brought Ava flowers, planned date nights, and even cooked her favorite meals. She responded in kind, her guilt making her overly affectionate. It was almost funny, watching her try to make up for something she didn't think I knew. At the same time, I dug into Sebastian's life. I reached out to Mike, an old college friend who now worked as a private investigator. Over beers one night, I told him everything. Mike grinned as he took a sip of his beer. "A guy like that? He's bound to have skeletons in his closet. Let me do some digging." It didn't take long. Sebastian wasn't just a charming playboy, he was a fraud. Mike uncovered a trail of dirty money, fake business fronts, and shady deals. "You've got enough here to bury him," Mike said, sliding the dossier across the table. "Not yet," I replied. "I want him to suffer first." The first step was planting evidence. Fake emails, forged documents, and strategically placed transactions tied Ava to Sebastian's illegal activities. I wanted her to feel the weight of her choices. The second step was getting close to Sebastian. Using a fake name and a burner phone, I posed as an investor interested in his properties. Over a series of meetings, I gained his trust. He was greedy and arrogant, which made him careless. Everything came to a head one Friday night. Ava and Sebastian were having dinner at their usual spot, a private room at an upscale restaurant. Unbeknownst to them, I'd tipped off the FBI, providing evidence of Sebastian's money laundering operation. From my car, parked down the street, I watched the agents swarm. Ava's face as she was let out in handcuffs was a mix of shock and betrayal. I felt a dark satisfaction as I drove away. Ava didn't last long under questioning. She turned on Sebastian almost immediately, offering up everything she knew about his business. She thought she was saving herself, but the damage was already done. Her career was ruined, her name dragged through the mud. When she finally came home, she looked like a ghost. She tried to explain, to justify her actions. I was lonely, she sobbed. You were always working. I made a mistake. I handed her the stack of evidence, the photos, the emails, the transactions. She stared at it, her hands shaking. You did this, she whispered. You shattered the glass, I said coldly. I just made sure you felt every shard. I moved out the next day, filing for divorce and leaving Ava to pick up the pieces of her life. Sebastian's trial was a media circus, and Ava's name came up more than once. She wasn't charged, but the stigma stuck. Months later, I thought I was free of it all. But one day, an envelope arrived in the mail. Inside was a single photograph, me, sitting across from Sebastian during one of our fake investor meetings. Beneath it was a note, "You think you're the only one who can play games? Watch your back." I stared at the photo, my mind racing. Somewhere, someone was watching, and they weren't finished with me yet. If you leave a comment, tell us what you think about the story you heard. It's important to us and will help us find and tell stories that you find interesting. Thank you for watching us.